On the night of April 29, 2014, in Oklahoma State Penitentiary, Clayton Lockett lay awake, his final 24 hours ticking down. What followed wasn't just an execution, it was a human experiment, a deadly gamble. Clayton Lockett wasn't just another name on death row. His execution would become a national scandal. They used a 3-drug cocktail that had never been fully tested. They promised to be quick, clinical, final, but it wasn't. What actually happened would haunt Oklahoma and expose a justice system on the brink of collapse. 24 hours to go. Lockett wakes in his cell, but there's tension in his body. He refuses food, not just the evening meal, but he had skipped breakfast and lunch too. He has no legal lifelines left, no appeals, no stays, no motions. The path is set. Attorneys had tried. They warned that the drugs intended for his execution were secret, unverified, possibly dangerous, but their calls went unanswered. The execution plan is locked in. To our amazing subscribers, thank you for standing with us through every heartbreaking case. And if you're new here, subscribing and liking the video is completely free, but it goes a long way in helping this channel reach more viewers who care about justice and truth. You're watching Verdict Vault. Stay with us for more stories that matter. To understand why Lockett was condemned, you must go back to June 1999. He didn't act alone. 2 accomplices joined him. They stormed into a home in Perry, Oklahoma. Their victim, 19-year-old Stephanie Neiman. She was tied up, hands bound with duct tape, mouth covered. Lockett and the others forced her, along with 2 other people, into vehicles. They drove her out, far from town, to a remote ravine. There, Lockett raised a sawed-off shotgun. He fired once. The recoil knocked the gun from his hand. The shot hit Neiman's shoulder. She fell, but she was still alive. Lockett went back to his car. He found a screwdriver. He fixed the weapon. He returned, fired again, this time from only a few feet. Still, she gasped in pain. Not dead, not silent. Lockett made a choice. He wouldn't shoot again. Instead, he ordered his accomplice to bury her, alive. They dug a shallow grave. Her body went in, still breathing, twisting in the dirt. She died buried under soil. That night, violence didn't stop. Lockett was convicted not just for murder, but for rape, kidnapping, robbery, and burglary. A life built on destruction. A crime so brutal, so cold, even the system saw no other end. The morning of April 29th opens cold, sterile, tight with procedure. At 5:50 a.m., guards try to restrain Lockett for a medical x-ray. He refuses. They shock him with a taser. Minutes later, he's in the infirmary. A cut, self-inflicted, on his right arm. A physician assistant checks it. No stitches needed. He's watched closely from then on. Every 15 minutes, they check on him. At 9:15 a.m., he refuses a final visit with his attorneys. Later, at 11:11 a.m., a food tray is offered. Again, he refuses. He won't eat. He won't talk. This is not a man surrendering. Something deeper is unfolding. He's alert, deliberate, aware. By midday, he's moved to another cell, the observation unit. They check him again. Still no cooperation. He remains calm, cold, resistive. Every refusal raises a question. Is this defiance, regret, fear, or something else entirely? A silent protest against what is coming. If cases like Lockett's fascinate you, and you want to explore more shocking stories of crime, investigation, and justice, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every week, we dig deep into cases the world can't stop talking about. 6:23 p.m. The execution begins. A 3-drug cocktail, untested in this combination. Midazolam first, the sedative. A line of clear fluid, into the vein, slowly. The clock ticks. Silence fills the chamber. 10 minutes later, doctors declare him unconscious. But not everyone agrees. Witnesses whisper, something is off. 3 minutes pass, then movement. A twitch, a groan. His shoulders lift, his head jerks upward, as if trying to sit. He fights the table, small, desperate movements. Breathing changes, quick, uneven. Sweat glistens. The paralytic hasn't silenced him. At 16 minutes, the warden lowers the curtains. The public can no longer see, but those inside know. Something has gone very wrong. The procedure that should have been clean, controlled, irreversible, is unraveling. Every second stretches, every breath is measured. A human life, controlled by protocol, fights against it. The first IV attempts fail. Arms, legs, feet, neck, every vein collapses under the weight of the drugs. 51 minutes of repeated failure. Finally, a groin IV. Risky, unconventional. The paralytic flows. The potassium chloride follows. Then, the vein collapses again. Fluid leaks into tissue. Drug absorption uneven. He writhes, twitches, gags, eyes roll. Witnesses recall gasps, moans, convulsions. Shoulders lift from the gurney. Hands press against straps. Muscles tense, jerks, shakes. One doctor later says he may have felt liquid fire. Conscious, paralytic, drugged, pain without escape. The warden halts the procedure at 6:56 p.m. But Lockett is still alive. He dies 43 minutes after it began. Not clean, not quick, not as the law or protocol intended. The system fails. A man condemned, and yet the execution itself becomes a crime scene. The room falls silent. The question is asked, any final statement? No. A single word, flat, cold. No plea, no apology, no defiance. Minutes stretch. Groans escape. Mumbles, barely intelligible words. One observer hears, "man." His voice weak, fragmented, human. A whisper lost in the machinery of death. There is no grand statement, no moral reckoning. Just pain, confusion, a system unraveling. The gurney, the drugs, the paralytics, all converged into a final, chaotic reality. The witnesses are left with images burned into memory, not of dignity, not of closure, but of failure, human and institutional. Death arrives, quietly, messily. Even in the final hours, control slipped through the system's grasp. A man condemned, and yet asserting a fragment of autonomy. What was meant to be a clean final procedure became a full-blown crisis. A bloody mess, said the prison warden later. Executions were halted. The state shuttered its lethal injection protocols. Every step, every syringe, every line came under scrutiny. An independent autopsy revealed multiple punctures, failed IV attempts, misplaced lines. All 3 drugs still lingered in his system. Some experts argue Lockett may not have died of a heart attack, not the cause officially recorded. The drugs themselves, the lethal combination, may have ended his life. The execution forced a reckoning. Questions linger. How far is too far even when the person on the table is condemned? When procedure becomes experiment, when the state wields power unchecked, a life ends, a system trembles, justice itself is tested. The story of Clayton Lockett is not just about crime, not just punishment. It is about the limits of control, about humanity
in the face of methodical death. Now that you've heard everything, the crimes, the trial, the final moments, what do you think? Was justice truly served, or did the system fail somewhere along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to see what you really believe.